Good evening and welcome to round 8 of the Sunday Night League Porsche Cup Series. Tonight we are at the Blue Moon Bay Speedway. Specifically, we are at the Infield A variation of this track. This particular track is a 2-mile circuit. It was added in Gran Turismo earlier on in one of the versions with 10 turns in total. It is an original circuit to the Gran Turismo, and it makes up a number of rather deceiving slow speed corners, which are aimed to trip a number of drivers up. So we'll see whether any of our drivers today will be caught up by these rather cunning corners. Tonight we are joined by Rob on the drums, Digital Blasphemy, MFC Doors, GT87, Mika, Lexus Maximus in 5th, VRC Cthulhu in 6th, and GT Racer in 9th. I'm just going to check to see if I do have the qualifying grid order. I do believe I may have it. If not, then the starting grid. The qualifying results, where we usually have the top 3 go to the back of the grid. That would mean then that Lexus Maximus would have finished in 3rd, Cthulhu in 2nd, and the pole position going to GT Racer. So they get 5, 4, and 3 points, which going into this race is all to play for, as after the last round 6, we did have a new leader in our championship table. Previously, we did have leading the top of the board. We had Rob on the drums. Now we have Digital Blasphemy. So we will see whether or not this race will give us someone else at the top of the leaderboard. But at the moment, as mentioned, Digital Blasphemy is in 1st at the top with 122 points. Behind them very closely, though, is Rob on the drums with 119. Now, interestingly, Rob on the drums does start from pole position after the top 3 are moved to the back of the grid. Could that have been a cunning technique in the qualifying to make sure they're at the front of the grid and they can try and hopefully stay there? We will certainly see. GT Racer is in 3rd in the league with 96 points, followed by OKC Ranger. Now going through the rest of the board, we do have MFC Doors currently in 9th with 51 points, though Mika is very close behind them, although in 11th, but they are joint 10th with Daz with 47 points, so only 4 points between the two. We've watched these two the last couple of races, and they've had quite a good battles as they go, and we'll hopefully keep on top of that one as we go through the rest of this race. GT Racer we've got there, as mentioned, is in 3rd. Cthulhu is down in 12th, a late joiner of the league. They have 41 points, so they are trailing just a little bit behind MFC Doors and Mika. Could see some surprises and how they get on and whether they manage to advance any more points. As I said, we will keep an eye on. Should be a great race this evening. Now, any warnings from the drivers? Drivers have been reminded by the stewards that the track limits are the white lines. So I think a number of drivers we have been going all 4 wheels over the white lines. But we will see and maybe keep an eye out to see if any drivers are falling foul of that one. Now, on to tonight's race. As mentioned, out in front we have Rob on the drums. Let's take a look, wait for the lights to go out. Don't want anyone jump in the start. Clear it all away. Really building up the tension here with these lights. Notice that he's starting on the mediums. This could be interesting. We'll take a look at the rest of the drivers. So, lights are away, and away we go. Great start from Rob on the drums, it seems, but an even better start, I might argue, from Digital Blasphemy. Now, let's go on board as we go into the first corner. Now, Rob on the drums covering that first section. It looks like Mika is having a good old battle in the middle as well. MFC Doors, rather. Mika's not too far behind, though. Oh, she seems to have dropped to the back. Let's take a look, maybe, at that one. Oh. So, let's go down the grid order. runs a little bit wide, maybe tries to clear, go around the outside. It's a bold move, doesn't quite manage to pull it off. I think loses a number of spaces in the process of doing that, but Rob on the drums manages to stay out in front. MFC Doors now up into second. Oh, though it's way too soon, and Rob on the drums drops down as he goes way too wide. And runs onto the grass, leaving MFC Doors in first position. Alexis Maximus up into second. Rob on the drums did manage to catch back third place though. Cthulhu in fourth. GT Racer in fifth. So looking back down the grid order, we've got Cthulhu right on the back of Rob on the drums here. Will we see another overtake? No, Rob on the drums trying to make sure that he's keeping his car as wide as possible across the track so as to not let anybody else pass as we go through the inner portion of this track. Might see some key overtakes out of that hairpin later on as we come back onto this race. Now, this is the usual oval track that they join back on here. Getting a nice bit of slipstream there as they take the outside line. And Alexis Maximus goes up into Tula goes up into third place rather. Rob the drums close behind, and GT Racer even closer behind there. It might seem where they go down the inside. We'll see. Cthulhu manages to hold on to it. Quite a deceiving corner that can be when you come up with that off camber and onto the flat tarmac. Only to go back onto it again might upset a number of drivers. But we'll see. Oh, let's get on the drums. Falling a little bit behind the wayside. I think maybe if they didn't have any strategic planning qualifying, it might be a bit dashed at the moment. But there are 18 laps left to go. So we'll keep an eye. GT Racer having a bit of a nudge down the inside. I'm not sure what Rob on the drum was doing there. He seemed to be kept sleeping almost. Went quite wide, leaving the door wide open for GT Racer, who took full advantage. But Rob on the drums has managed to stay out ahead, so well done there. Now, what's happening at the back of the grid? District Blasphemy down in 6th with Mika back in 7th at the moment, but she's not losing the pack anytime soon. You just see GT Racer there pulling out of the slipstream. We're trying to cut it off from those behind so that they don't. Quite a wide line there from what looks like Cthulhu, trying to go around the outside, taking a little bit of wall with them. Doesn't seem to be paying off for them, with Alexis Maximus doing very, very well to hold Cthulhu behind. But GT Racer has managed to keep up. Rob on the drums dropping back significantly. Let's take a look back there. So Cthulhu was, Rob on the drums was running up in 4th. Doesn't seem to brush the wall there at all. I think maybe got a little bit of slow traction out there. GT Racer's got a good bit of slipstream here. I think as we saw there, this was the move we saw where GT Racer just jumped out the side of it. Must have gone close enough that they felt they could use the slingshot effect to go around. So there, Rob on the drum drops down to 5th. Keep an eye. He did drop down even further, so we'll see what goes on here. It seems to be keeping it nice and tidy at the moment. Getting very, very close to that wall there. Oh, it did this again at the beginning of the race and did it again there. Just runs a little bit too wide and takes in a bit of grass with them. They don't want to keep that up the entire race, and they'll lose many more positions. But Mika, hot on the back of Rob on the drums here, just smelling that opportunity for a position, and she managed to pull it off. Covers the inside line very nicely, but it does mean Rob on the drums has the inside line on the next corner. Gets very squiggly though, and loses that place to Mika. Very nicely done there. Great use, use of that opportunity there. So MFC Doors up into first, still holding the field by quite a margin. Got quite a bit of lead on them actually. Behind them is Alexis Maximus, who I believe is trying to get rid of Cthulhu at some point in the near future. But going into the first corner, Cthulhu did have the inside line. Doesn't want. Ooh, does try to go for a little nudge, sticking those down the inside. Doesn't pay off though. Not sure what's going on there. Could see some little trickery there, trying to sit behind the driver in front of you. You can certainly use less fuel as they punch a hole in the air. It doesn't pay off as well on this variation of the track as you've got the infield portion of it. If you are on the full oval Speedway variation of this track, just slamming the door shut there on Cthulhu. Tried to go around the outside, but it does mean Cthulhu got the inside line. they're swapping places once again. We saw this with Mika and Rob on the drums just a minute ago. Doesn't quite pay off the same way. We'll have a look. MFC Doors absolutely blazing ahead of the rest of the pack, as we do have Alexis Maximus, Cthulhu, and his GT Racer all vying for second place here. You see a lot of position overtakes, making full use of the slipstream going down this part of the oval. Will Cthulhu make a move now, opting for the outside position? Cthulhu previously had tried the inside line, goes for the outside, doesn't quite get enough, but ooh, do they get enough speed coming out that corner by taking that outside line? Hit that apex nicely. I think they did. I think Alexis Maximus may have, oh, just gets the power on a bit too early and lights up that rear tyre. Oh, that's a shame, dropping down to fifth there. Not sure why they're reversing, but at the moment, Alexis Maximus down in seventh. What a shame, they were having such a good battle for second at the moment, but still 15 laps to go. They can certainly make up that amount. Let's take a look at these drivers with their tyres. Now, MFC Doors did start on the super soft, but their super softs are looking very tidy at the moment. Cthulhu with their softs, a little bit more degradation on those front rights. You're going to be putting a lot more effort on the front rights, just due to that banking where the whole car's weight is being pushed against, as the car wants to go out wide, but the grippy tyres there are trying to hold on. Doing very well to manage the tyres actually from everybody. Those on the supers and the super softs doing very, very well. I think I saw Rob on the drums on the medium. I am tempted to think they may try and go the distance on this one. Oh, goes a little, having some trouble with the adjusting to the camber coming off of the Infield, the inside track as it were, and rejoining the Speedway. But I'm sure they will get the gist of it soon. But they are down the back of Mika at the moment. Although she's not letting them get away too closely. Let's see where Alexis Maximus has gotten, trying to catch up with the rest of the pack. Oh, you see those, those supers are looking a lot more degraded than some of the other drivers. I think that spin has really degraded. That may change their tyre strategy just a little bit, and we'll have to keep an eye. Might opt for the softs after this one. I suspect they probably will opt for the softs, as drivers still are not allowed to change, they're not allowed to reuse the same compound of tyre as they've already used in the race. So I suspect they'll be going for the soft, and I'm not convinced that those supers will last the rest of this race. I'm surprised that these supers are lasting just as long as they have. We're 7 laps in, and MFC Doors, who's out in the lead at the moment, is keeping great tyre management at the moment, so particularly compared to some of the other drivers who are using the same supers, but GT Racer has been caught in the middle of it all for a lot longer than MFC Doors, who's just pushing free air at the moment. Now they've dropped behind Cthulhu. They were vying for that second place, but with Alexis Maximus dropping out, I don't think they've quite got that slipstream benefit that they had of bridging the gap between GT Racer and Cthulhu up ahead. They're just a bit too far behind the rear bumper of Cthulhu to really take any advantage of that. But unfortunately, Digital Blasphemy is right in perfect striking distance of GT Racer to be making full use of that slipstream. Oh, you can just hear the tyres squealing, trying to struggle for that grip. Digital Blasphemy, I think, is looking like they're the much faster car here as GT Racer desperately tries to keep them behind. But Digital Blasphemy is who, at the moment, currently leading the championship order. Certainly wants to make sure they finish ahead of their immediate rival in the championship table, which is Rob on the drums. So they are doing that very nicely. They've managed to finally get past GT Racer. Let's go back and have a look at that. So, Digital Blasphemy in 4th at the moment. Just nudging the back, giving a little bit of encouragement, going, I am here, and you make one little move, I'm going to try and go for it. Now they go, don't quite to go for the inside line there. Clearly didn't have enough of oomph to get them around, but do they utilise this hairpin that we've got coming up here? Make good full use of the track there. Yes, I think they do manage to use dives down the inside of that hairpin. Oh, that was a very risky move there. It paid off magnificently. Well done, Digital Blasphemy there. That was a great bit of dominating that track. Now they were a bit more in free air, so can they use these supers they've got on? Just scraping the barrier there. Going to lose a little bit of paintwork. It might help them in the long run with a little bit of weight reduction, but I doubt it will make much of a difference. So after 8 laps, we do still have MFC Doors in first place with Cthulhu in second, Digital Blasphemy in third, GT Racer in fourth, fifth is Mika, Rob on the drums in sixth, with Alexis Maximus down in seventh. Could it be that the fastest lap is shared between MFC Doors and Cthulhu, who have both somehow managed to set a 1 minute 8.192? That is impressive. How they have managed to both set the same fastest lap to the 1,000th of a second is beyond me. But let's look a little bit down the line as we have Rob on the drums creeping up behind Mika, gaining I think lap on lap. Unfortunately don't have the live timings between these drivers. Now Mika's key motivation at the moment needs to be to keep GT Racer into the pits and keep Rob on the drums out of her slipstream. She doesn't want them using that to their advantage. Having said that though, we do both have Alexis Maximus and GT Racer into the pits. Rob on the drums is on the medium tyre, with Mika on the soft. We're halfway through here, and those softs, particularly that front right and the front left, what am I talking about? Front right and rear right, there we go, are looking rather bedraggled, and they may want to give those a bit of a change at some point in the near future, whereas Rob on the drums, I think, playing the long game here, looking pretty fresh on those mediums. They can certainly get them the rest of the race, given how much degradation is on them at the moment, halfway through. Mika doing very well here, just trying to keep them behind. GT Racer and Alexis Maximus now out of the pits. Let's take a quick look. What have they gone for? So they've both gone for the soft compound. Rob on the drums right in the slipstream here. Will they try and go around into turn 1? Or are they just still not quite close enough? No, they're going for the outside. Mika offering the inside line. Gets a little bit of a wheel on the grass there and a nudge from Rob on the drums, who I think lifts him just a little bit to make sure he doesn't take that position. But very good sportsmanship here between these two drivers. Some great clean racing from everybody actually. Just needs to catch up a little bit more. Alternatively, could try and stay behind Mika, knowing they have the advantage with the tyres, and really save on a fuel a bit, as that'll help them in the long run as well. They're just under half a tank here. Could also see them not have to pit at all for fuel, whereas some of these other drivers, say Cthulhu for instance, who's into the pits with their softs, such a difference between the lefts and the rights on this track here. MFC Doors still out doing absolute wonders with those supers. It's impressive the level of care they have for those supers. Now going down the start-finish straight, still managing to keep Rob on the drums behind there. Doing a blinding job. Oh, Rob on the drums just hit the wall a little bit there, which isn't great. Cthulhu comes out of the pits ahead of... Ooh. I think Mika just turned it a little bit there. You could just see the back end kick out. but held it well. Held it very, very well. Now, Cthulhu comes out in 5th, ahead of GT Racer and Alexis Maximus, interestingly. Alexis Maximus way down, unfortunately, after having that off. Just lost the rear and span the car right round. Ooh, speaking of just going off a little, I thought that could have ended even worse there for Rob on the drums. Takes a bit of the grass with them, has taken some of the stress off of the back of Mika, who's now got a bit more breathing room. They do have to start worrying about their tyres and fuel, but they are up into 2nd. If they can stay ahead enough, make these last long enough, they could squeeze in a cheeky pit stop for some supers and come out in quite a high grid position, as we've got quite the separation between a number of these drivers at the moment. Digital Blasphemy still out on their first set of tyres, and they are on their supers, but they don't appear to be struggling too much for grip at the moment. They're doing very well, actually. Just going to see if they do come into the pits. No, they choose to stay out. Ooh, we do appear to have a driver that has spun. Looks like Cthulhu's had a bit of an off. So what's happened here with Cthulhu? Braking going into... Ooh, just has a bit of a nudge with Rob on the drums there. I'd argue that was Cthulhu's own doing there. Just went into the side of Rob on the drums. Rob on the drums managed to keep it on the track, but Cthulhu had that off, which has lost them position. They were doing very, very well to hold on to the back of that group and were looking to take that position. Very risky move. Unfortunately didn't pay off for them. Now, this is quite interesting. Both Rob on the drums and Mika into the pits, it would seem. Now, Rob on the drums previously had the medium. I should think that they may go for the supers, same as Mika. Digital Blasphemy still out in front. MFC Doors is in 2nd. Rob on the drums, I think, comes out of the pits just ahead of Mika there. Does indeed. Must have put less fuel in the car. You can just see there's a little less fuel on board on Rob on the drums, but Mika's not too far behind. Both of them on the supers. We'll see how they play for the rest of this race. With 6 laps left, soon to be 5 laps left, as Digital Blasphemy crosses the line, and they are first at the moment. We're only 3/4 of the way in, still 5 laps left, but they are a fair way ahead of the pack. MFC Doors in 2nd, as they now only just go through the start-finish line. GT Racer looked like they were almost thinking about going into the pits there for a second. Not too sure, but they've got Cthulhu to compete against. As the pair of them side by side into turn 1. GT Racer covering the inside line. Cthulhu giving a good amount of room, but we've seen a number of drivers taking that outside line and keep enough speed that really takes them into the next corner. It looks like Cthulhu has done just that. Really held on to that speed and maintained it the whole way through those first few corners to take 3rd position from GT Racer. Very, very nicely done. I suspect those supers they have on helped them quite significantly over the softs that GT Racer had. Now GT Racer has got the next 5 laps to try and catch up. Looking down the rest of the grid though, Alexis Maximus, after having their off, has managed to get back up to 5th following the late pit stops for Rob on the drums and Mika. Now Rob on the drums is probably a lot lower down the grid order than they would have liked, as they are currently 2nd in the championship. They're going to want to really try and gain a few more points to stay within sniffing distance of Digital Blasphemy, who is currently 1st at the moment. But we shall soon see. Mika just falling behind there, unfortunately. Did very well to stay with the main pack. I think that late pit stop maybe didn't pay off. I think on the much faster tracks like the Speedway we have today, going for that long overcut even pit stop strategy doesn't quite pay off. The undercut probably certainly would have done, but hindsight and all that. So let's look back down. At the moment, we've got a battle going on for third between Cthulhu and GT Racer, although GT Racer is starting to fall behind a little bit there. And then we also do have Alexis Maximus with Rob on the drums. Oh, Alexis Maximus going very, very wide there. I think Rob on the drums has just taken that position away from them. Alexis Maximus, come on, you've got not that many laps to go. Let's have a look. Rob on the drums opting for the super, so much fresher tyres there for Rob on the drums, with much grippier as well. And I think now that floodgate is opened and Rob on the drums has gotten past Alexis Maximus, he won't be falling back behind again. But you never know. We've seen a few drivers spin already throughout the race. Just getting a little bit wiggly there, coming off of that camber, and yeah, just that banking, the severe banking of the oval on the Speedway, really upsetting a few of these drivers, both on entering and exiting the banking. That was close. That was a bit close there from Alexis Maximus. Cut a bit too much grass. Unfortunately, the grass is not as slippery on this track as we have had on some of the others. I think some of the other tracks we've had the grass is just a bit too wet, and the smallest amount can send them slingshot off into the Armco. Let's join back with our race leader, who is a full almost 3 corners ahead of our second place MFC Doors. But MFC Doors does currently hold the fastest lap at the moment with a 1 minute 7.806. I don't think this will be a fast lap taking that amount of grass, but you never know. Might have kept enough momentum in there that it's paid off. Missing the apex completely there. I suspect that might be ideal for taking that hairpin. It's not as tight as some of the hairpins we've already previously driven on in the rest of this league. Any of the last minute battles as we look further down the grid order. Now we have Cthulhu in third at the moment. There was a battle between them and GT Racer for third, but I think GT Racer's fallen just a little bit too far behind to really make a comeback with only 2 laps left of the race. In the meantime, Rob on the drums and Alexis Maximus, there is still close enough between the two. Oh, getting very close. Rob on the drums there to the barrier. That's getting very close there, having to bounce back off of it. But hasn't lost too much speed, I don't think. Alexis Maximus is just outside of overtaking. Will that still be the same situation though? Finish this lap and get onto the final lap of the race. We've had a number of drivers now. Interestingly, Rob on the drums there, fuel light warning. Means they've got less than a lap of fuel left. And they are some distance from the start finish line. Could they run out of fuel before the end of the race? Just taking too much grass there. I think might now be starting to get to the Alexis Maximus hunting down the back of Rob on the drums. Let's take a look there, just how close they are. So really, are they close enough to get that slipstream just cut behind it? Onto the final lap now. Let's go back with Digital Blasphemy, who has led the later stages of this race. Their supers are looking absolutely shot at the moment, and they've got barely enough fuel, but it's the last lap and they are approaching the very last corner. So we will will see. This will do them a world of good in terms of the Drivers' Championship. They're currently leading it, and I think with this deal of points, they will certainly keep that lead ahead. So, Digital Blasphemy finishes first, ahead of MFC Doors, who crosses the finish line in second. Cthulhu, who I think has actually run out of fuel. They have indeed. They have run out of fuel, and unfortunately GT Racer had enough on board to take that third place away from Cthulhu as they try and go off the rest of the track. But no, Rob on the Drums managed to get past. Rob on the Drums finishing in, does it look like, 4th position. Alexis Maximus, I think too, has also finished with their fuel, which means Mika comes in 5th with Alexis Maximus in 6th, and oh, I've just missed it there. It looked, though, right on the edge. We had Mika taking. Ooh, did I? No, apparently it's not added it. Wait, here we go. Let me open this back up again. Thought I was beyond these rookie mistakes. Apparently not. But what an exciting end to that race. Unfortunately, I think a few of the drivers just didn't fill up with enough fuel or really underestimate how much they were using. And Mika, playing the tortoise there, the long and slow game, it would seem, has shot past it, a number of them, right at the last minute to take 5th position. So we will, once this is finished loading, have a little look-see as to what the actual finishing order was for those drivers. But I can tell you that after round 8, the standings are Digital Blasphemy still in 1st position, now with 147 points. Let's have a little whiz through here. Our lovely grid order. And I did tell you that'd be an exciting race, so when this allows me, just a few seconds now. Brilliant, perfect, right. The end. That was almost a photo finish. If we go back to Rob on the Drums here, so why not, let's take another look at that again, get rid of these names. So just looking there, so we got Rob on the Drums finishing across the line in 4th, both Alexis Maximus and Cthulhu having run out of fuel, and Mika, back in the distance there, sees the opportunity and comes flying across the line. Oh, even better view here. See the pair of them just coming there. Look at that. Easy breezy. Easy. Well, what a race indeed. Let's stop it there. So, our fastest lap today was taken by MFC Doors, who set a 1:07.806. Well done them. And today's winner again is Digital Blasphemy. And followed by, in second, taking the next podium slot, we have MFC Doors. In 3rd was GT Racer. Rob on the Drums in 4th. Mika up into 5th after that last amazing overtake there. Unfortunately, both Alexis Maximus in 6th and Cthulhu in 7th after running out of fuel. This does mean Digital Blasphemy with 147 points in 1st place still holds on to it. Rob on the Drums now 10 points behind in 2nd with 137, and GT Racer has got 121 points in 3rd. Now MFC Doors has jumped up into 6th position with 74 points. Mika at the moment is in 9th with 62, so there's a good haul of points there. Cthulhu stays behind in 11th with 54, and Alexis Maximus has 16 points down in 17th, but did start the championship a little bit later than the rest. So a great race there from everybody. Well done to our race winner, Digital Blasphemy, and we will see you this coming Sunday for our next Porsche Cup race. Thank you all very much, and we'll see you then.